Welcome to Let Me Catch You Up, the podcast where I explain reality TV to my husband.
And I ask a lot of questions.
I'm Liz, a longtime Bravo watcher who's been following Summer House for years.
And I'm Pat, a casual observer who's been in the room, sometimes paying attention.
Each week, we're recapping the latest episode of Summer House, breaking down the drama, the relationships, and everything you might have missed. Whether you've watched every episode,
or you're just trying to keep up.
We're here to catch you up. Let's get into it. All right, it's that time of the week. How has your week been? Has it been as Summer House heavy as the last weeks prior?
I feel like the social media stuff, either I'm not paying attention to it as much or it's calming down a little bit. But yeah, I still see stuff pop up though.
It's calming down a little. Still a lot of Summer House. I also have a little bit of a bone to pick with you.
Me specifically?
Yeah, you know how you said that your algorithm had gotten basically infiltrated because I sent you all these Summer House posts?
Right.
All of a sudden, half of my algorithm is golf content now.
Why would that have been? Did I share something with you?
I must have watched one golf video. I think it was the Domino's Pizza one.
Yeah.
The video of Rory. Who was he talking to?
I think it was Justin Thomas.
He was like, yeah, if you're in a new city and you don't know what pizza to get, Domino's is pretty good.
It's consistent. Yeah, it's pretty good.
But anyway, that's probably what poisoned my algorithm. I don't know. Maybe it's because we were talking about it so much last week. We were just talking about golf and my phone heard golf and then it served me the content.
Yeah, the phone hears you. Yeah, that makes sense actually.
So my call outs of the week. This happened like last week, like right after I think the episode aired, but Sierra was hosting a red carpet for the Euphoria premiere. And okay. I don't watch that show, but there's a storyline in it about a girl basically dating her best friend's ex. So Sierra was interviewing Sydney Sweeney. Her character's the one that kind of does this. And she's like, what do you think about if somebody steals their best friend's ex? What do they do? And they're kind of like, well, you better make it worth it. And Sierra's like, yeah, they've got to like get married. So it was like a really good way of shading West and Amanda.
Was Sydney Sweeney in on the joke?
Honestly, I was unsure. Probably. Yeah. The other thing that was infiltrating everyone's feed, Amanda came back to social media and posted this picture of her dog with words on top of it like, I'm not over it and, I'm still sorry. And if you see me posting, it's not because I don't care. I don't know. It's another word salad that no one needed, but I think it was kind of manipulative that she put it on top of a really cute picture of her dog. Right.
The dog had nothing to do with it. It's just
I was like, why bring the dogs into this?
Yeah. Slow. I didn't like that. And also, I don't know. It was kind of just like her way of being like, I'm just going to keep doing things normally, leave me alone, basically.
I've said sorry to the people that I've hurt directly. So don't be mad at me. It was just, it's just a little cringe too. And then she was out and about with West over the weekend. So I saw a bunch of other posts about that. Whatever.
Yes.
A couple other funny things. A lot of people have been wondering what Kyle's skincare routine is because he hasn't aged.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, they showed some flashbacks in this episode, like 5 years ago, 7 years ago, and stuff like that, and he pretty much looks the same.
Yeah, he looks really good. Another podcast I was listening to was like when they did the old people party, they were like, Kyle has to do all this makeup to look really old. Carl just needs to like put a little bit of gray in his hair and his beard.
Yeah, that's true.
I also saw some posts where like AI made Kyle like in the same revenge dress at the reunion as Ariana from Vanderpump Rules. She had this like red dress with all these like cutouts and stuff. It was pretty good. And then Amanda did post, people were also saying, oh, she's posting this like, hey, I'm back on social media. Don't be mad at me thing because like, oh, she must have like a brand deal coming. And she did. She was in an ad for Jimmy John's.
Yeah.
And it was like interesting because I think it was for like 420 kind of, because it had all these other people that smoke a lot of weed.
Oh, okay.
They're talking about like their ultimate munchies playbook or something. And Cheech is in it.
Is Snoop in it?
No, he must have been too expensive.
What about like Willie Nelson?
No. Okay, so Cal Penn and Skylar Gassando. I didn't recognize Skylar. He's
Okay.
an
Skylar
actor,
Gis-
to your point. I guess Snoop, he was probably their first
Yeah.
choice.
Right.
Yeah, I
Okay.
know Amanda talked about smoking weed on this season, but I don't really put
Yeah.
Amanda and Cheech in the same category. Yeah, I think those are all my main internet updates of the week. So let's get into the episode. It is Summer House Season 10, Episode 11, Viva Los Hamptons. And it picks up on Friday, August 15th, 9:43 p.m., right where we left off with the Ben and Amanda conversation. After Ben has confronted Amanda about, why did you tell Sabrina that I'm in love with you? Or that everybody thinks I'm in love with you? And, Amanda does apologize. She's like, I wasn't thinking about what I was saying. I could have thought about my words better. But then her confessional really didn't age well.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's like, oh, I don't understand what's going on. This girl just showed up and we're all supposed to be like, yay, they're in love. This guy's been acting single all summer. And Amanda's like, Ben's like, I'm falling in love. How dare you? And she's like, how dare you? I'm married, sir. I'm like, even without the scandal, that didn't age well.
Yeah. What is it? I don't even know what she means by that, really.
I
Like,
guess she's like, she's the married one. So, like, how is he coming at her?
okay, so like she's saying like, how dare you flirt with me, a married woman?
But she loved the attention from him.
And she says it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think it's the jealousy just kind of like
Yeah.
wrapped in like jokes and stuff like that. But like I think she did like the idea of Ben being attracted to her, and now that he's finally in kind of like a relationship or the start of a relationship or whatever that is with Sabrina, I think it's triggering some sort of like jealousy in her.
I agree. Because she does say, oh, this man wanted to fuck me in Italy. There was a whole group chat about it. And his friends had to say, she has a husband. But, I played into it. Who doesn't like a little attention? But don't turn this around on me.
Yeah, she's all over the place.
Yeah. He's not turning it around on her that he flirted with her. It's that she made this offhanded comment to his new girlfriend.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But whatever. It's like, it's not that big of a deal. But the way that Amanda is like going so hard in her confessional, I'm like, it makes it seem like it's kind of a big deal when it's definitely not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and also it reiterates kind of like how fake she kind of is. Like she's
Mm-hmm.
apologizing to everybody, like, "Oh, I'm so embarrassed for my, drunken actions and words. Like, I don't even remember saying that." And then in the confessional, she's like, "What I
She
said was
was,
fine." And
yeah, she was really inconsistent because she tells Sierra and Mia that she doesn't even remember saying it to Sabrina later.
Mhm,
But then to
right.
Ben, she doesn't say, oh, I didn't say that or I don't remember saying that. She says, I'm sorry that, if anything I said hurt her feelings. I guess I wasn't being careful about my words.
Mhm.
And then when she talks to Sabrina later, I also thought what she said was kind of shady because she was like, that wasn't my information to share.
Right. Maybe there was more
Instead
to
of,
that apology, but
yeah,
she didn't say
maybe.
anything.
Yeah. But anyway, so they're still at the driving range place. So after the Amanda and Ben conversation, we see West completely whiffing a golf shot.
Yeah, that made me happy.
Yeah.
And Mia's face, she's like, "Okay, let's move on."
She's like, great try. Something, I don't know. So they all go back to the house and some people get ready to go out. So yeah, there's like a bunch of kind of different scenes. But at one point, West, there's like multiple times where Wes is being like really touchy feely with Bailey, and I wouldn't have
I
like
noticed that.
thought much of it before, but now throughout this
Right.
episode, there's like multiple situations where I'm like, dude, seems like he touches all of the girls.
Yeah. Yeah, it just seems like he doesn't care whether you're single, married, whatever. Like he's just very, very touchy feely.
A little bit inappropriate.
Yeah.
So we do see Amanda with Sierra telling her that she's anxious because of like what Ben just told her. And Sierra's like, oh yeah, I heard about this on the ride up. And Amanda's like, I don't remember saying he's in love with me. I want to talk to her about it. That conversation made me feel icky. But like I said, I feel like her story kind of just keeps changing.
Hmm.
And Kyle isn't going out. And he's like, oh, I'm just hopeful. I'm optimistic because Amanda agreed to couples therapy. And again, he says, I just want to focus on us our last 2 weekends of summer. But then we see in the previews, like the following weekend, she doesn't come, it seems like.
Hmm.
So was it already planned and is it all fake?
Yeah, who
I don't know. We'll
knows?
find out. But yeah, he's like, oh, I'm optimistic. And how is he so optimistic with just one conversation about couples therapy? But anyway, sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm genuinely curious, like if that was a conversation that they had had before and she has always been open to it, but it didn't seem that way from the way that Kyle was like, okay, she's finally willing to do this. So I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so my other note from when they're getting ready, Jesse and West are getting dressed, and Jesse's like, oh, I don't know what to wear. And Wes is like, hey, you want to borrow my pants? How do West's pants fit Jesse? Like, I'm not even asking about like the waist size or anything. I mean, Google's correct. Jesse is 6'5" and West is like 5'11". So maybe
Hmm.
Jesse just has a really long torso. But
Maybe, yeah.
and then, yeah, so Jesse's wearing West pants, and then they're like in the room with Sierra and Mia getting ready, and a condom falls out of West's pants, and they're like,
Hmm.
Jesse, what are you doing with that? He's like, it's not mine.
I went back and watched that like a couple times because I was like, was it West's or was it Jesse's? Because I know it was West's pants, and Jesse tried to claim like, oh, this is it. It fell out of West's pocket. Jesse seemed like more embarrassed about it than West did.
I don't know. I assumed it was West's given his track record and
Yeah.
this episode. So yeah, the group is like getting ready to go out, but we learn Ben is not going to go out because he's serious about Sabrina. She's coming on Saturday, and he's like, I'm not going to go out. I've been single for 6 years, but I'm ready to be all in. I just thought it was funny at the beginning of his conversation with Sabrina. He's like describing what pillows he has. As someone who's really picky about my pillow when I sleep, I could kind of understand.
Is this a connection to the neck pillow thing?
Maybe, yeah, Ben and his pillows.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the group goes out. I think it's like Carl, Dara, Mia, West, Sierra, Jesse. There's nothing of note really from that, except when they come home, a cicada tries to get in the house, so they all freak out about that.
Hmm.
God,
Yeah.
cicadas are creepy. And then Sierra and West are flirting after the bar, and Jesse is like, I'm sure he's still attracted to her, but I don't think he's ready for a real relationship. And he's like, the guy is going to be looking like Kyle Cook by the time he's ready to settle down.
Yeah, that was a
And I'm
good
like,
one-liner.
kind of, but also Wes is not going to look as good as Kyle at
Yeah.
43.
Right.
But Jesse's like, I think it would be good for them to have a boundary, which is accurate given what we see later in the episode. Earlier this season when Jesse was making comments about Wes not being ready to settle down, I was kind of like, oh, pot meet kettle. Jesse, you don't really seem that ready to settle down either. But now with all of the scandal and us learning more about how Wes was allegedly in multiple relationships,
Hmm.
it tracks.
Yeah. Jesse's in a 3 week long relationship, so maybe he is ready to settle down. But no, I never took him seriously from his perspective, being like, oh, like West isn't ready for this, or he can't settle down. But yeah, I think it's safe to say that maybe Jesse knows that West is not ready. So
I think he knows a lot more than we do. Not saying he knew about Amanda and West, but I think he kind of has a sense of West's behavior
yeah,
towards
yeah,
women.
he witnesses enough of his behavior to be like, this guy is not ready for a relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's not much else from that night. Tara and KJ run around and they're cute and they go to bed. Kyle's tossing and turning and he has like a pillow between his legs, and I can just relate to that because That's how
Yeah.
I sleep.
More pillows. Lots of pillows in this episode.
I think it's, I don't know, struggle of middle age. And then we see West and Sierra both kind of go up separately and then kind of peek out of their doors like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, are you still up or whatever? So, they had a flirty night. Nothing happens. But then it's the next morning. And then we have a really sweet scene and heartbreaking scene with Mia and Sierra. And Mia
Mm-hmm.
talking about how she had a dream about her parents and that, like, it felt so real and that they were alive. And I started, like, crying watching this. And she talks about how it's kind of like an intense time for her because Scott's got so much going on in his life and he's, like, really successful. She's, looking for someone to give her some guidance. Like, she kind of like, Mom, are you going to, like, help me figure out what to do? And she
Mm-hmm.
doesn't say it, but I think she's kind of trying to decide, like, does she stick it out with Scott and try to make a life work with him, or is it not going to work? I don't know.
Yeah. I feel bad for her because I mean, she's definitely talked earlier in the season, like when they did like the truth or dare stuff. Kyle asked her, like, "Do you think Scott is the one?" And she was like, "Yeah, definitely." So it seems like
Hmm.
she's is in love with Scott and they have a solid relationship. It's just how much he travels and stuff, and she wants to settle down and start a family and everything. So that's tough.
Yeah. So, then we have a little chat with Jesse and West, and West is like, "Oh, I haven't seen Ben in ages," just because Ben didn't go out with them.
Hmm.
And then uh, West also wasn't at Lindsay's housewarming, so he's kind of like out of the loop. But Jesse's like, "Yeah, his girlfriend's coming today," and West is like, "Oh, is that why he stayed in? I'm gonna kill him." And Jesse's like, "Yeah, he's changed since meeting Sabrina." And they're like, "How long have they known each other?" Basically, what we take away from it is like, because I remember Ben said they met in March. So they dated from like March to June and kind of got intense quickly. But then Ben put it on pause. And Jesse's like, so they get one coffee, they come to Lindsay's housewarming, and they like haven't separated since.
Hmm.
So they're just like, oh my God, I can't believe like he's already like full on in a relationship after like one weekend. But like this is rich coming from Jesse based on how he acted with Lexi last season.
Right. And then also like the Maggie thing, like he's talking like about how he's dating and like how he wants to kind of settle down and not be at these parties anymore and stuff. So I don't know. I think it's a little hypocritical. I think they're over exaggerating the whole Ben and Sabrina thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like I was also kind of like, you guys are acting like it's so crazy that somebody would start dating someone in like a week and a half and be like all like about them. But if,
Right.
I mean, but if you think about it, if they really were dating for 2 months, like let's say everything he's saying is true, let's take it at face value.
Yeah.
Let's say they were dating for 3 months, like March to June, and they were kind of hot and heavy, and then they had a pause. They're gonna pick back up like right where they were, so it's not
Yeah.
like this is completely new. So I could see you'd be like, "Wow, where did this girl come from?" Like this is intense that they like went from 0 to 60, but it's believable to me. So I don't know.
Oh yeah. No, I agree 100%. From my perspective, nothing about it seems weird, but I could see how they're around each other so much and everything and like their world is like this house on the weekend and stuff. So it's like they're just kind of like confused and like shocked because they're like, how did you go
Yeah,
from like being single last weekend to like all of a sudden you're in a relationship? But I don't know. Again, they're overreacting, I think, but
yeah.
it makes sense to me.
I also I wonder if there's like some unwritten like norm or rule that like Sabrina's kind of like breaking or pushing against with the kind of coming in so quick to the group and like ingratiating herself with people and being like how she kind of came in hot last episode,
Hmm.
kind of being all in the know on the house dynamics, what's going on and all of that.
Right.
Because even Sierra's like, I met up with her. I really, and she's like, I don't know, I like her. Like some people might not like
Yeah.
her or something. So maybe there's some dynamic there too that's not like at the surface, but
Yeah. Yeah, it might not just be about how close Ben and Sabrina are, but maybe it's more about Sabrina's personality. Because, like, Sierra talks about how she says everything that's on her mind and she's very outspoken and stuff like that. So maybe she's just kind of clashing with the vibe of the house and stuff like that. I don't know.
And I don't even know if she's clashing, but I kind of just felt like to me, like, oh, we're a clique. Like, she's not in our clique. Why is she coming
Yeah.
around? Um,
Yeah. I think that's a good way to phrase it. Yeah.
anyway, we'll see kind of how her dynamic evolves with the group. And yeah, so we find out. Oh, the only other thing they said, like, she's like, oh yeah, she loves rock and roll and gives hippie chill vibes. And like,
Yeah.
as an adult, have you ever like met someone and then they've led with like, I'm really into this music? Like, when would you find that out about somebody in a first meeting? Unless you're at a
Yeah.
concert.
I don't know. There's got to be something that we just like didn't see, like a conversation or something. I just thought that was such a random comment. Like she's into
Yeah.
rock and roll. And like, are we talking like metal? Are we talking about like he
Aerosmith.
says chill vibe? So I don't know. Like, yeah,
I don't know. I was like, I really want to know more about where that came from. That
yeah,
intrigued me. But yeah, so we learned that Jesse is in charge of the party this weekend, and it's going to be a Vegas style pool party. And I think he picked it because it doesn't take a lot of decorations. And
right,
I respect that hustle because
yeah,
that when they were setting up for the last party, that looked like way too much work.
yeah, yeah. We've talked about how much work they put into like these decorations and all that stuff, and it makes it fun to watch. But sometimes it's like exhausting.
Hmm. You know, it's not like there's that many crazy costumes you can come up with for like a pool party Vegas theme, but they could have done more with the outfits. That was the
Yeah,
like only disappointing thing. Like they could have each dressed up as like a resident of Vegas or something, like some, you know, different singers or performers that have residencies in Vegas.
yeah,
It felt like this was very like last minute and slapped together.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, Jesse got to it too. He was like, I just wanted to do something that was very minimal. So maybe this one they were just like, I don't care what the theme is, as long as I can just wear a bathing suit and relax. And he's like, all right, I got this.
Yeah. I wasn't necessarily like paying that close of attention, but I felt like Ben was the only person that actually like had a theme. Like he was, I don't know if you caught this, he was like Fear and Loathing, Las
Yeah,
Vegas.
yeah,
Okay, so other things from when we learn about the party. So they're like all outside. Jesse's, you know, I enjoy Vegas, but I also fear Vegas. You know, it's cheap debauchery. But then Amanda's like on the lounge chair, and we see West sitting on Amanda. And okay, that's almost like a smoking gun because Sierra told us
yeah.
like 2 episodes ago that when West sits on you, that means he likes you.
Right. Yep. We were just waiting for that scene to happen, and it happened.
So that's all the proof we need. Something was
Yeah.
happening. But yeah, Amanda's like, don't fart on me. And we also see Bailey and Amanda chat a little bit about Bailey and Carl. And, you know, Amanda's like all about it. She thinks that they could work. Amanda's like, oh yeah, Carl like loves communication. So just talk to him about it.
Yeah. Amanda was like all invested in their relationship all of a sudden, saying like, "Oh, like I think they're really good for each other because
Right.
she's quirky and he likes that, and then he's sensitive and she likes
And
that and stuff."
right. I don't know. I feel like nothing's really gonna happen with Bailey and Carl. It's fine. It just kind of seems like a waste of time. I'm rooting for them, but I I don't really buy it as like I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. Anyway, Sabrina arrives at the summer house. There's also a really big inflatable cabana that they put together. Amanda's like, should I pull her immediately? And Mia's like, yeah, totally. But Sabrina comes in and she kind of meets everybody, and then she sees Sierra and she's like, oh, these are the nails. Like you got them. They look great. And then so we learned that Sabrina had, after meeting Sierra at Lindsay's housewarming, she invited Sierra to coffee. And Sierra's like, I was free, so I said, why not? And they hit it off. And Sierra's like, you know, she's kind of the opposite of me. So I'm like really attracted to her in a friendship way. She says everything she's thinking. And Sierra's kind of like, I like that because I struggle with that. So that was interesting to just learn a little bit more about, you know, that Sabrina's already kind of making friends with Sierra. And they really seem to hit it off at Lindsay's party too. And that's where Sierra
Yeah.
was like, I don't know, I like her.
Hmm.
But yeah, then Amanda pulls Sabrina immediately when she kind of says hello, and Amanda apologizes. And she's, I feel so bad for catching you off guard. And this is when she says, "It was not my information to share. I shouldn't have been talking about it at all." And I just felt like that was kind of a shady way. Like, why didn't she just say, "I'm sorry that I joked about that. It didn't mean anything. I don't know why I said that."
Yeah.
Like, she's like, I mean, your boyfriend has some like shady stuff. It wasn't my place to tell you his
Right.
shady stuff.
It happened. Like, don't get me wrong, but I shouldn't talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's almost like doubling down.
Yeah. It was weird. But
Yeah.
Sabrina appreciated the apology and was like, don't sweat it. So maybe there was more to it that we didn't see.
Yeah. No, I thought Sabrina took it well. Like, she was kind of like, I'm glad that you apologized. I'm glad that you approached me and everything. I just want to focus on like building more positive memories and move forward. So,
Yeah. And then we get a conversation with Carl and Bailey. And Carl is just talking about, how he struggles to communicate with Kyle. And he talks like when he wasn't sober, he could use alcohol and drugs to help him like say what he thinks more, I guess, more easily. But
like, get the
now
courage,
that now that he's sober, he doesn't always have the confidence to say what he wants because he cares so much about what other people think. And he says he especially struggles when people have a more dominating personality like Kyle. And, he also says that he owes Kyle a lot. Like, Kyle's been there for him through some of his struggles with drugs and alcohol. And Kyle gave him a job at Loverboy and supported him. So he also was like, it feels like I can't always like go as hard at him because I do feel like I owe him, but he wants to feel like it's kind of a mutual relationship. So I don't know. We didn't talk about this on the podcast last week, but I kind of was thinking about it. Carl is like, if Kyle doesn't have me, who does he have? I just thinking about it more like I do think Carl is within his right to be upset and want more from Kyle as a friend. I also am kind of skeptical that Kyle doesn't have any other good friends other than Carl. Like, I'm sure he does.
Yeah, it's almost like maybe in his mind he's like, he's my best friend and I want him to act like as good of a friend as I am.
They throw around the term best friend a lot on these shows, and I feel like as an adult, there's people that are like your good friends.
Yeah. Yeah, best friend is kind of something that you say like in middle school, but yeah, I don't know.
I don't know that there's that much more to talk about. I guess Carl is still stewing on not wanting to say more to Kyle, apparently, and their friendship. And then they're getting ready for the party, and we see Amanda, Mia, and Sierra. And I guess Amanda is coming off of her conversation with Sabrina, so they're kind of like, how'd it go? And she's like, oh, went fine. And they're like, it went fine. Like, give us more. And she's like, oh, I'm in my head. I feel like everyone hates me. I don't like that I made someone upset. And I didn't like that Amanda made this so much about her, especially knowing what we know now. But Sierra's like, oh, you're just used to being beaten down because Kyle can be so hard on you. You don't realize that you're magic and half the things that Kyle has is because of you. And Sierra like even cries, and that's just so hard to watch.
Yeah. I didn't like now obviously like our perspective has changed of Amanda, so we think about her in a different way. But she's like one of these people that says bad things about herself so that other people will jump in and like reassure her and stuff. And she's like, I'm just stupid. They're like, no, 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 you're not stupid.
Yeah.
So everybody has to like gather around and like support her and reassure her and stuff. And like, I don't know. She just annoys me now.
I think that's fair. I do kind of find that a little bit annoying, like fishing for compliments.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we all do it here and there, but
yeah, I know. But it seems like she does it a lot. Not to pile on.
Yeah. We're still within our statute of limitations on giving her shit for this.
It's fair.
It's going to be like that for a while. Okay, so Jesse's friends, quote unquote friends, or hired help, I think it's friends, come with, he says, oh, the bartender's here, but I think it's his friends. They come with an espresso martini tower and a shot girl, like one of those signs at a club. I wrote down shot girl sign. I don't know what it's actually called.
Yeah.
But they are like, oh, the first message we're going to put on it is Ben's last ride.
They were so proud of themselves. Yeah.
I know. it was kind of funny, but I also was like, oh, is how's this gonna go over? Is Sabrina gonna be like that's mean, or is she gonna like find it funny? But it
Yeah.
seemed like it was fine. So I'm glad she
Yeah,
has a
she was
good
a good
sense of
sport
humor.
about it, but it could have been really awkward.
Yeah. Uh, but then yeah, Wes is flirting with girls. Apparently, he invited. Apparently, this party would have had no one at it if Wes hadn't invited everyone.
Right.
So, but Jesse's like, Wes, what are you doing? Don't you ever learn? Like, you got yourself into hot water on this show. I hope you know what you're getting yourself into. Um, and then there we see Dara's best friend Carly comes. I mean, we saw her in a couple conversations throughout the episode, but didn't really add
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
And then Amanda and Wes kind of chat in the kitchen really quick. And they're both like, oh, Ben went from being a single guy to now Ben's married. And Wes is like, oh, I love that you got in trouble for something though. And then he's being like really flirty with Amanda in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So that's like the first like flirty interaction I noticed between them after him sitting on her. But
Yeah. I think this is also the part where she like hits the cutout of
yeah,
Ben and he's like and Wes is like, "Did you just hit him in the weenie?" And she's like, "Well, we went skinny dipping and I never got to see it or something, you know."
yeah.
And I was like, "Why is she still talking about this?"
Yeah, she just seems like really bitter.
Yeah.
Uh, so then I think we have my favorite part of the episode when they have the big inflatable like
Okay.
cabana thing on in the
Yeah.
pool. So West and Ben get on it and they like synchronize their steps to both get on at the same time, not to throw off the balance. And
It's
they're like
tricky.
really careful. It's tricky. So then Kyle's like, "Oh, permission to board," and he kind of just like floats onto it. And then like KJ comes out of nowhere and like runs on, and Kyle gets immediately knocked off into the pool, which was pretty funny. Uh,
That's good.
and then Jesse comes on like a few minutes later as well, and kind of also just kind of like lightly steps on, and he's like, "Ooh, it's not as stable as I anticipated." So the boys have a chat, and Kyle's like, I had a rough, this summer I had a rough start. And then they're like, and middle. Uh, and he's like, I'm trying to have a smooth ending. What did you think he was going to be talking about here?
Good couples therapy.
I thought he was going to be talking about him and Amanda. But then
Yeah.
he's like, oh,
He's
I
talking about
told
Carl.
Carl. Yeah. So he's not even talking about him and Amanda, which is what
Right.
his summer has been so rough about. But he's like, I told Carl, I know he's upset. I know he wanted to say so much more. I'm betting he had more to say. And Jesse West are like, yeah, he did. And Jesse's like, Kyle's kind of the boss and Carl's the beta, which I think is an accurate read on the situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that whole conversation was funny because again, it's like going back to last week in that moment, the whole Kyle and Carl discussion. It's like Carl's being like, "Hey, this really upset me," and Kyle's like, "It sounds like you don't know what to say right now, so I guess the conversation's over."
You good, bro?
So now Kyle's like doubling down on that. He's telling all the other guys like, "Yeah, it was really weird. Carl just didn't know what to say." Like, but we'll talk again at some point. It's just like he's completely blocking out this thing that he did wrong. I think we're all good.
Yeah, like we said before, but like the forgetting to reach out on the anniversary of his brother's passing, like I don't think that's like some huge unforgivable sin. It's more that way that he like reacted and like has then not been able to just kind of listen to Carl and hear him to be there for him.
Yeah, that's gotta be frustrating. Yeah.
Okay. So then we like cut it's like about it's 5:17 p.m. exactly. Sierra and Ben are chatting about how much Sierra loves Sabrina. And then Wes sits down literally right next to Sierra. It's like not the same physical chair, but it's right next to her.
I mean, she literally has to move a drink off the arm of the chair because like he's about to like sit on it. They're touching.
Wes has been flirting with this girl. So the girl that's with him like sits on his lap. And Wes is like, oh my God. And the girl's like, why are you saying, oh my God? And he's like, oh, well, I used to kind of date the girl behind you. And then he's like, but like, who cares? No, 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 I'm kidding. Uh, but like so he notices clearly, but he doesn't
Right.
get up or stop or whatever.
Yeah. Maybe this girl is really that clueless and she doesn't watch the show and have any clue who these people are, but like she should know who Sierra is and that she and Wes dated.
Okay, I can believe that maybe she doesn't know anything, but like, I don't think he's not allowed to date people. Like, he's not in a relationship with Sierra. He's allowed to date other people. That is not
Right.
what I don't think that's what anybody has a problem with. It's how he like continues to be flirty with her and
Hmm.
then does that in front of, like, directly in front of her. Like, he could have been
Yeah.
more like, he could have still hung out with this girl at the party, could have made out with her. He just could have been a little more discreet about it, especially
Yeah.
like noticing literally right next to her and not
Right.
getting up. I thought that was kind of messed up.
Well, and Sierra worded it pretty well, and I mean, she was basically just like, "We're not in a relationship. I
Yeah.
get it, like, but I would never do that. We're sitting right next to
Like,
each other. Like, that's not cool." Like, she wasn't
and
like, "How dare he make out with another girl?" or "How dare
yeah,
he go out and date somebody?" She was like, "How dare he do this 2 inches away from my face?" Like, that's just disrespectful.
yeah. Sierra's like, what she wants in a relationship is to be seen. And for him to sit right next to her and make it seem like he
Yeah.
doesn't see her is just kind of proving her point that, like,
Right.
if you can't see me right next to you, how can you see me in any situation? Is what she said. But yeah, again, it's not like he's not allowed to act single. It's just be a little more respectful to Sierra. Ben is also like, he's the one that he like witnesses everything in real
Hmm.
time. And he's like,
Yeah.
are you freaking kidding me? Uh, and he's like, literally 3 weeks ago, Wes was talking about how he's like trying to make inroads with Sierra and saying it was dreamy when they were together and he regrets some things. So I just think it's all kind of BS. Like, I don't think he cares at all.
Yeah.
I think he just cares about what the audience thinks about him.
Yep. I think that's correct. Yeah, I think he wants to hook up with girls and he doesn't want to look bad.
Hmm.
Which you said this a couple weeks ago, whatever, but I am very skeptical that Amanda and West are actually going to last. Not because they're not compatible or whatever. I think West has a pattern and all the things that frustrates her about Kyle. West is just the same thing, just maybe not a DJ, but
100%.
like he's
He's not a DJ
he's
yet.
right. Yeah.
Yet.
Kyle wasn't a DJ when they got married either, so
No,
there's
he's
still
not
time for
40
that.
yet. So,
Yeah.
he's got to
He'll
build
grow
to
into
that.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, 100%. We also get a little bit of an update from Jesse, and he's, oh, I usually flirt more at these things, but if I don't feel like flirting, then he says something's wrong. I don't know. And he's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I've been dating Maggie for about 3 weeks, and we flash back to like Maggie the bug girl.
I drank it anyway.
And he's like, I realize the right person isn't going to come into my life if I'm distracted by other girls and partying. I wasn't sure if he was saying he's like dating Maggie and she could be the right girl for him. And that's why he's like, oh, I don't feel like flirting with other people. Or is he like, what am I doing with my life? I've been dating this girl for 3 weeks, but I was confused by it because it didn't really seem like he was that into her when she came to the party.
Yeah. I thought the phrasing was weird also. I think because he said I've been dating her for 3 weeks. So I was like, oh, he's talking about like dating her. But then like what he was actually like the context of what he was saying really seemed to mean more like in general, if I'm going to be in a relationship, I need to give that attention and not just having a good time. But yeah, the
Yeah.
phrasing was weird.
Yeah. We'll see. I was confused. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so then we get a little bit of an update with Dara. She's talking to her friend Carly, and then also Bailey and KJ are chatting and kind of both talking about, are you guys gonna make it official, boyfriend, girlfriend? And Dara's like, probably soon, I guess. And KJ's like, well, I don't want to rush because I've gotten hurt before when I rushed into things. So they seem like they're doing fine. They're together now. So
I think they're trying to
yeah,
kind of like concentrate on that. Like, oh, that's like an issue, but I think that's pretty
yeah.
minor.
But yeah, so then we see Sabrina and Ben on like a day bed, but they're like staring over at West and the girl that he's with. And Ben's like, "Stop staring! You're throwing daggers at him." Um, and Sabrina's like, "Does Sierra see that?" And Ben's like, "Of course she does." So then Amanda just comes out of nowhere and is like, "Who's this girl with West?" And she just walks up to them and's like, "Can I come in for a cuddle? Am I crashing your party?" And it was really weird because we see this scene of like West with both girls on either side of him, and he's like caressing Amanda's like hair and neck as she's
Yeah,
chatting with them. It was bizarre.
it's really awkward.
Um, yeah. But Amanda's like, "Oh yeah, my husband's playing at Common Ground, best DJ in the Hamptons." Uh, and she was being kind of like facetious or whatever, but I don't know if the girl got it. She's like, "I think we're gonna go to Surf Lodge."
Yeah. So like, I'll pass.
And then Sabrina comes in and also like interrupts West and the girl, and she's like, "Oh, I just want to get to know you guys." Like, "Oh, Ben needs to talk to you, West." And then like Sabrina kind of goes off with the girl, but then I think we see the girl and her friends leaving when they're like, "Okay, party's shutting down," and then West just
Yeah,
passes out on the
yeah.
like lawn furniture or whatever.
Really uncomfortable looking position. Also,
Yeah.
I think that whole scene with like the crashing the cuddle session and all that. If it weren't for the scandal and
Mhm.
all that stuff aside, the caressing Amanda and playing with her hair and stuff like that, I think there's enough of these scenes building up to this point where it's like, this is kind of weird. Like, she's married.
How
There's just
dare
so
you,
much
sir?
physical
I'm
touch.
married.
Yeah. Yeah.
He doesn't have any of that energy for West. Yeah, we have West sitting on Amanda, red flag. And then
Yeah.
we have them flirting in the kitchen. And then we have her coming over on the daybed and him like caressing her. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of heavy flirting between them going on.
Yep.
Okay. And so West passes out and they're like, "Oh, if you fall asleep with your shoes on, you get drawn on." Is that the rule? I don't remember the rule.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the rule, I think.
But Amanda writes Dick on West's forehead. And we see other things also on his face later. Um, the girls, like Mia and Sierra, kind of like chatting about West being disrespectful. And then we also see Sabrina and Ben in the kitchen, like kissing and talking about their relationship. And he's like, "It's been a huge transitional period." And Sabrina kind of laughs. And Ben's like, "Don't laugh at me. I'm being
Hmm.
serious." So it's a theme with Ben that he doesn't love jokes, I guess, when he's being vulnerable, especially,
Yeah.
or trying to be sincere. I don't know.
He's a very
Uh
serious person.
I feel like he's not even that serious. Like he definitely has fun, but when
Oh,
he's like being sincere and trying to like give a little like speech or something. Because like the Bailey
yeah.
joke was when he was giving his speech. Um which we didn't really say, but I guess Bailey's kind of justice for her because remember she was like, "Oh, you guys, there's this joke that you wanted to sleep with Amanda," and we're like, "Did they ever say that?" But I guess it was true. So
Yeah.
justice for Bailey.
Yep.
But yeah, so anyway, West wakes up from his little nap and he's like, "If I didn't invite all these people, this party wouldn't have happened without me." Uh, they're like, "Oh yeah, thanks
And
for
they all just
inviting
kind of laugh at
everyone."
him.
And Amanda's like, "Yeah, even the girl you were making out with all night, you got too comfortable." Uh, and then we see West in his confessional. "I've been trying to do my best not to do anything wrong for 2 years. Sierra's been cuddling with Jesse in front of me under the covers for the last 2 years, and I didn't say anything." And I'm like, that is not the same thing. But Wes says, "To a fault, I've tried to protect our relationship. but I don't even know what our relationship is. We haven't even had a conversation. I'm like, okay, Wes, you could have a conversation with her at any
Yeah.
time. Like, that's kind of
Right.
BS. I just think that this season, it's the focus has kind of been him and her warming up to their friendship again and being flirty. So, what is all of that about if he doesn't care
Yeah.
and just wants to like be done with it? If he's like, okay, you know what? I respect you, but I hope that we can be like friends on some level, but I'm ready to move on. I'm going to start like seeing other people that might bleed over into the weekends in the summer house. Fair. But they haven't had that conversation. So, and it's not even that they just haven't had that conversation, like the way that he's been acting towards her this whole summer.
I think he's leading her on in a way.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then he's like, oh, why would she, like, I don't owe her anything. Why is she upset after 2 years of us not dating?
Yeah.
Like, I think if this was last summer when they weren't really talking as much and stuff, it wouldn't, to me, it would have been like, okay, I understand her being like, ugh, don't do that in my face, but they're broken up. They're not
Yeah.
friends. Fine. But even earlier this season, he talks about like when they're at the singles party with Ben and Amanda Wes talk about, oh, Dara's here. Like, is she here for you? And Wes kind of says, oh, well, we kind of have this unspoken rule, this line neither of us has crossed in front of each other. So what happened to that? He just decides to cross that and does now he's like, it's not a big deal.
Right.
He's being two-faced.
Hmm. I think he's just immature. I don't know. But more than that, he's kind of sleazy.
Yeah. Maybe it's like when he's drunk, his true colors are coming out.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. Kyle kind of just jumps in and is like, yeah, it's been 2 years. Like, it's not unreasonable to, make out with a girl at a party. And then Kyle's like, okay, well, like, how close were you guys to her when it happened? And Wes is like, oh, I didn't see, which is a lie, liar.
Right.
And Kyle's like, it'd be messed up if it was on the same chair. And it basically was.
It literally was. Yeah.
And then Wes is like, it would be one thing if Sierra flirted with me all the time, but it's like once every 48 hours. And Jesse's like, that's kind of a solid ratio. And Kyle's like, actually, I thought you were going to say like once every 6 months. I can kind of see where they're coming from now. Which was just funny. I think Kyle immediately was like, wait, what?
Yeah. I think he jumped in his defense kind of without enough context. And
He
then,
didn't
like,
have all the
as
facts.
the conversation, yeah.
He's like, it's not that bad unless you were, doing it right next to her. And if you had like been really flirty with her this whole summer. Oh, wait, you've
Yeah.
been doing all those things?
Right.
Never mind. During this conversation, Sierra, Mia, and Amanda have like snuck up onto the balcony and are trying to eavesdrop. It's unclear what they can actually hear, though.
Yeah. At some point, they're like, I can't hear anything. Yeah. And I think in like the mid-season trailer or whatever, it seemed pretty clear that he like made out with somebody, but it made it seem like it was like from the other side of the party because they showed Sierra kind of by herself, shaking her head and stuff. So I think they were kind of like hiding that they were next to each other.
Well, it's probably because when they're on the daybed, she's like farther away, but when she sits on his lap, it's right next to her.
Yeah.
So the girls, after they were like eavesdropping, Mia, Amanda, and Sierra are like all sitting on the bed, and Mia's like, let's take a deep breath. And then she's like, no one is breathing. It was funny. It's just so weird that Amanda's like participating in all of this, and we know it's coming in real life with West.
Hmm.
She says we didn't talk about this exactly, but she says to West, she's like, if you want to make progress in your relationship with Sierra, there's a level of respect that we have to live here together.
Yeah.
And all I could think about in the conversation was, is Amanda defending Sierra, or is she also like jealous?
Right.
Like, does she already like have feelings for West, and is she jealous?
There's multiple points in this episode where I was like, I think Amanda has serious jealousy issues about people that are not her husband.
Yeah.
And I think it's starting to cross a line, like the jealousy that she has with West. That scene where she goes up to her and stuff and she's like breaking it up. You could look at it from two very different perspectives. Like she's being a friend to Sierra or she's jealous of West. And
Mhm.
now everything that we know, it makes that second scenario seem more and more likely.
Yeah. It felt really, as she would say, icky watching her. I don't know, like if she was completely all just good intentions, would you like go and lay down with them? Like if I'm like Sierra's friend and I'm like, this is screwed up, I'm going to go talk to them. I would just stand there awkwardly and talk to them. I wouldn't like be like, I'm getting on the daybed and like
Oh, yeah,
having
totally.
you fondle my neck.
Or like what Sabrina did. Like Sabrina kind of like followed the lead and kind of like lay next to
Yeah.
him at first, but then she was like, "Hey
Ben
Wes,
needs you. Get
Ben
away
wants to
from me.
talk to you. Yeah, don't do it like in a awkward threesome, like affectionate way or something."
Yeah.
It was just bizarre.
Yeah, it did look like the start of a threesome or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but the episode ends with Sierra saying there's a reason Wes was living on probation for so long and now he's back in jail. And she's like, I knew there was a reason that he can't be a friend to me. He doesn't see me. How can he be a friend to me? Like, which I think gets back to why she was so upset after their relationship fell apart and was hesitant to let him back in general. But we'll see
Hmm.
what happens next week. We do see that Wes and Sierra do have it seems like they have a sit down conversation and they do talk about missing each other's friendship, which I believe for Sierra, at this point, I find it hard to believe anything from Wes is genuine, but we'll see.
Hmm.
Um, Scott is coming to the summer house next week. So excited to learn more about him. He seemed pretty funny from just his short interactions at Lindsay's housewarming. And then it seems like Amanda's not coming next weekend because we see Kyle on the phone with her. And she did say she was a little under the weather this weekend. So maybe she's sick. Who knows? Or maybe she was always planning not to come, since Kyle also said he wants to enjoy their last 2 weekends together.
Yeah.
Okay. This probably is easy, but red flag this week. Mine is West being handsy with every single girl in the house.
Yeah, definitely West. I don't know if you noticed, but he actually said red flag at some point. So my
Yeah,
red flag is West saying red flag.
I did notice that. All right. So my MVP this week, a little bit unconventional. I picked Sabrina
Oh, okay.
just because she I felt like she really like went hard for Sierra. Had just met her. I like how they hit it off really quickly. I like that she had Sierra's back already in the episode. I like that she's not part of the cast, but she's acting like she is, and she's just owning it and coming in.
Yeah.
Um, and seems like a nice person. Like, I don't know. So far, I like her. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to kind of go off script. I
Switch it up a little
didn't
bit.
know,
Yeah.
switch it up. I couldn't, like, Jesse was kind of on my radar for some of his, like, commentary, but I
Hmm.
was too annoyed with him for playing into the, like, Ben being married all of a sudden thing. So I decided not
Yeah.
to pick him. Um, and yeah, I don't know. So who did you pick?
Nice. I do like Sabrina. I think she's interesting,
Yeah.
kind of new character. But I picked Mia. I felt bad that I didn't pick her last week, but she did have some good one-liners. She was, good comedic relief and everything. And I like that she made fun of West at the driving range. Um, and then yeah, the whole like the dream thing and like she was talking to Sierra about like we need to go like see a medium and stuff. I thought
Yeah.
kind of like side from what the main story was and everything. Every scene with her is entertaining for one reason or another. So
Yeah. I like it. Yeah. Honorable mention to West's like golf club for whiffing the ball.
Yeah.
I'm kind of I'm just gonna go for it. I'm giving it a 4.5 sandwiches this week.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I feel like because there was like multiple like interesting storylines, and then it is hard to watch with all of the scandal hindsight, but it also added another layer to this whole episode. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, there was fun
Yeah.
moments, but I was kind of like riveted the whole time. So I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
if I like actually took an objective lens, if any of these ratings make any sense, but I don't know. I like this episode, so
Yeah. No, I thought it was good too. I went 4.25.
okay. As Jesse said, it was one of the spicier weekends in the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there was drama, so it was interesting.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just like Amanda and Kyle fighting. Like that's boring.
Right.
But
Yeah, I feel bad that the drama is at Sierra's expense. That she's caught
agreed.
in the middle of all this. But for the sake of reality television, it was entertaining drama. Yeah.
We're seeing more of West's true colors, and we're also seeing more of Amanda's true colors in different ways
Yeah.
throughout this episode, where if we didn't have the scandal, we might not look at it in the same way, but both of them had a lot of questionable behavior this episode, regardless of that scandal. But like with that on top of it, it's like, okay, yeah, that tracks.
And I think there's something to the fact that, they can edit it and produce it in a way to make people look in a certain light. But I mean, all this stuff in this episode was from basically one day, and there's only so much manipulating that you can do. Like those things were said, those things were done. I mean, it's not made up. So yeah, I agree. I think West and Amanda are kind of coming into this, picture that we're seeing now. So it's kind of unfolding before our eyes. So yeah, entertaining episode for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else before we wrap it up?
No.
Okay. Well, if anyone who's listening has any questions or thoughts, you can always email us at letmecatchyuppod@gmail.com or message us on Instagram at letmecatchyuppod, and we'll give you a shout out in an episode. So let us know what you're thinking. Till next week.
See ya.
Bye. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow the show on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen, and leave us a rating and review.
If you have questions you want answered this season,
Send them our way, because chances are Pat's wondering the same thing.